Time is a puzzle. Some physicists claim that every moment, past, present, and future, coexists. Right now, your birth and your final day might be just slices on a cosmic loaf of reality. This stands in stark contrast to how we experience time as a one-way street. Our perceptions want us to believe in a forward-moving arrow, but advanced theories in quantum physics suggest otherwise. So is our timeline truly linear, or do we just assume it to maintain familiarity? In 1971, physicists J.C. Hoffley and Richard Keating tested Einstein's predictions by flying atomic clocks around the globe. The results were astonishing. Clocks in motion registered different times compared to those left stationary. This demonstration of time dilation hinted that our clock-driven reality could be more elastic than we imagine. Moreover, quantum experiments on entangled particles show correlations that appear instantaneous, despite the separation in space. Could these phenomena imply that time itself might not be as rigid as our daily routines suggest? Scientists such as John Wheeler propose that the observer plays a fundamental role in shaping what we perceive as temporal sequence. By choosing how to measure phenomena, we might be retroactively affecting outcomes. Ancient Vedic teachings echo a similar intrigue, suggesting that time is cyclical rather than linear. When such parallels surface between modern physics and centuries-old wisdom, we start to see cracks in our conventional worldview. Are we simply reading a script that has already been written? Consider this your invitation to explore the unexpected. If any part of you senses that reality might hold more surprises than textbooks traditionally reveal, you are not alone. Both advanced laboratory studies and ancient spiritual texts point to the possibility that time, as we commonly understand it, is incomplete. By the end of this video, you might question whether your future could be influencing your present, or if your past is still whispering into your tomorrow. Stay curious. Imagine scientists peering into the quantum realm, seeing particles appear in two places at once, or vanish and reappear with no predictable pattern. This behavior defies classical logic, yet it is confirmed by repeated experiments, from the double-slit demonstration to more advanced tests involving interference patterns. Physicists like Erwin Schrödinger introduced the concept of superposition, where a quantum system exists in multiple states simultaneously until observed. Might this phenomenon hint that time itself could be layered, each moment overlapping with another? In the 1930s, Georges Lemaitre proposed the expanding universe theory, challenging the entire notion of a static cosmos. Today, the cosmic microwave background provides compelling evidence that the universe had a distinct beginning. But if the universe once fit into a single point, how can we treat time as a line stretched from past to future? This question intensifies when we see effect seemingly come before cause in certain quantum experiments, jostling the boundaries of our logical frameworks. Consider the hypothetical tachyon, a particle theorized to move faster than light. Though it remains undiscovered, its postulation suggests that our physics might allow for signals that violate causality. Meanwhile, spiritual traditions from Taoism to Sufism often speak of an eternal present, weaving hints that the temporal flow is illusory. Could these ancient teachings be subtle acknowledgments of phenomena now coming under scientific scrutiny? The synergy between advanced math and mystical insight is significant to dismiss without deeper investigation. Here is the critical question. Are members of the scientific community inching toward revelations that mystics articulated centuries ago? When laboratory instruments record anomalies hinting at nonlinear influences, we might be witnessing echoes of something human, our thirst to perceive beyond the veil of linear time. This is not speculation. It arises from recognized research, published papers, and spiritual doctrines that refuse to fade. As we push forward, the lines between measurable data and visionary insight begin to blur. In 1979, the Wheeler-DeWitt equation attempted to merge quantum mechanics with general relativity, yet it strangely omitted time as a fundamental variable. Newton once regarded time as absolute. Einstein replaced this with relativity. Now, some frameworks suggest time might be an emergent property, not a basic building block. The deeper we go, the more contradictions emerge. How do we reconcile our daily schedules with a universe in which the concept of before and after could be a localized illusion rather than a universal truth? The block universe theory, promoted by physicists like Hermann Minkowski, proposes that time is simply another dimension, akin to height or width. Under this model, the past, present, and future coexist in a static tapestry. We only experience one slice of it, akin to how a flashlight moving along a painting reveals distinct segments but never changes the painting itself. If that is true, then the notion of traveling through time might be less about breaking physics and more about shifting our vantage. Yet, quantum entanglement experiments sometimes show results that imply measurement choices in the present could affect outcomes in the past. John Wheeler's delayed choice experiment is a classic example, revealing that whether light behaves as a wave or particle can depend on the observer's decision made after the light has entered the apparatus. This paradox challenges the comfortable assumption that the timeline is a one-way march. Instead, it beckons us to question whether events can retroactively reshape entire history. Across cultures, we find myths of prophets or visionaries foretelling events long before they unfold. Could these stories be poetic representations of phenomena like retrocausality, or a universe where all moments exist at once? However we interpret them, they hint at a continuum far more intricate than simplistic linear progressions. Such intersections between folklore and cutting-edge experiments set the stage for the ultimate fundamental mismatch between our everyday perspective and underlying reality. Ancient Egyptian teachings describe time as cyclical rebirth, while certain Hermetic texts imply that the future can imprint upon the present. These mystical suggestions align strikingly with more modern claims of a malleable space-time fabric. When a Sufi mystic states that God's knowledge transcends time, it resonates with the notion of a block universe where all events are accessible. Such parallels push us beyond the typical scientific versus spiritual divide, hinting at an underlying framework that both sides have glimpsed from different angles. In Tibetan Buddhism, the concept of shunyata suggests that phenomena lack existence within linear constraints. Eons before quantum mechanics, these teachings spoke of the emptiness of appearances, paralleling the idea that time might be a relational construct. On the other side, advanced physics experiments like the quantum eraser continue to produce data, reinforcing that our temporal assumptions are fragile. Perhaps we are witnessing the convergence of what sages intuited and what modern instruments are now beginning to detect. Shamans in Amazonian traditions often speak of traveling through time during ceremonies, communing with ancestors, or glimpsing future events. Although easy to dismiss as mere metaphor, such claims echo the non-local interplay we see in entanglement and the perplexing results of delayed choice trials. If consciousness can tap into states beyond linear constraints, maybe our conventional boundaries are self-imposed illusions. Here we encounter a delicate balance. Exploring these parallels requires both open-minded inquiry, rigorous examination, and detailed scrutiny. Where science uses mathematical models and empirical testing to chart unknown territory, mysticism employs symbolic narratives and introspective practices. Both paths, however, converge on an unsettling insight. Time may not be the linear highway we presume. Understanding that we could be continually interacting with multiple frames of reality changes how we interpret fate, destiny, and free will. As we go deeper, it becomes impossible to ignore the harmony between scientific data and centuries of esoteric knowledge and tradition. Even everyday language betrays our confusion about time. We say we save time or waste time, but rarely question what substance we are actually dealing with. Our cultural narratives revolve around irreversible progress, birthdays marking forward motion, and histories locked behind us. However, if advanced physics and ancient wisdom converge on the notion that time is far more fluid, then these attitudes might be incomplete. Could it be that our memories and future aspirations are simultaneously influencing our now, weaving a tapestry we barely discern? In numerous near-death experiences, individuals report encountering panoramic life reviews where past, present, and future appear intertwined. While such accounts are anecdotal, they align with scientific and philosophical debates on time's nonlinear aspects. Physicist Brian Greene notes that the mathematics supports a realm in which all moments eternally exist. Mystics from various lineages have long spoken of seeing beyond the veil. If those glimpses are legitimate, they may indicate that our linear viewpoint is just one limited interpretation. Psychologically, our emotional states can distort perceived durations. Minutes feel like hours in distress, and hours vanish in bliss. This subjective elasticity suggests that time is partly shaped by consciousness. Meanwhile, research by neuroscientist David Eagleman demonstrates that our brain constructs a perception of the present using slightly delayed sensory inputs, implying our awareness of now is already in the past. These findings beg the question, is our sense of time simply a neural illusion carefully stitched together? Beyond academic circles, we live these paradoxes daily. We frame our identity on what we believe has happened and what we aspire to achieve. But if time weaves in loops or multi-layered webs, everything from personal regret to our sense of destiny might shift dramatically. Recognizing that time could be malleable blends existential awe with a liberating possibility. Maybe we are not as trapped by our yesterday, nor as ignorant of our tomorrow as we think. The conversation grows more compelling as we examine the interplay between free will and destiny. If every point in time exists already, does that mean our choices are illusions? Physicist Julian Barber suggests that what we call instances in time might exist as distinct, self-contained configurations. Each configuration is a complete universe. The sense of flow arises from how these configurations are connected in our consciousness. From the perspective of advanced mathematics, your future might already be out there, awaiting your arrival. Pause for a moment and picture a film reel. Every frame of the movie exists simultaneously, yet we experience the story one frame at a time. Quantum theory hints that reality may function similarly, with consciousness playing the role of the projector. The question persists, can we jump across frames, altering the sequence? Though mainstream science remains cautious, fringe studies exploring phenomenon like precognition or retrocausal influence provide hints that the human mind may interface with temporal coordinates. Intriguing historical prophecies and modern claims of contacting future selves often sound thoroughly outlandish, yet so did space travel centuries ago. If the mind can glean information from a yet-to-unfold timeline, it could revolutionize how we make decisions. Instead of randomness, perhaps we sense signals from upcoming configurations of reality. While skeptics demand conclusive proof, these ideas refuse to fade, fed by both anecdotal accounts and data that defy conventional explanation. Could free will coexist with prearranged possibilities? This ongoing dance between determinism and open possibility compels us to ask, does time's true nature liberate us or lock us in place? Research into presentiment, where individuals subconsciously respond to future events, suggests we might be immersed in a timeline that permits subtle backward influence. Philosophers wrestle with whether these hints demolish responsibility or enhance it. Ultimately, acknowledging a flexible time structure does more than expand our worldview. It challenges every assumption we hold about cause, effect, and agency. We stand at an intersection of advanced science and ancient insight, glimpsing a reality that defies the compartments we use to organize our lives. Time, once thought to be an ever-flowing current, may be more akin to a vast ocean, where every ripple, wave, and depth exists concurrently. If so, our personal narratives, our regrets, our hopes, are not simply confined to what has been or what might be. Instead, they may reshape each other, continuously weaving the tapestry we call existence. The illusions of chronology shape not just our day-to-day routines, but also our sense of who we are. Imagine if your future achievements and lessons could inform your present decisions just as vividly as your past experiences do. That notion rattles the linear story we tell ourselves. First we are born, then we grow, and we fade. If the boundaries between past, present, and future are porous, what does that reveal about our identity, our purpose, and our potential? Many scholars ponder whether advanced civilizations, if they exist, have already mastered a deeper relationship with time. Could UFO sightings or unexplained phenomena represent not extraterrestrial visitors, but future humans bridging eras? This speculation remains controversial, yet it underscores humanity's enduring fascination with transcending chronological barriers. Academic or mystical, each perspective drips with the same underlying tension. We sense that time is far more intricate than a single dotted line. The real question is how we confront that mystery. Ultimately, you must decide whether the riddle of time travel is speculation or a clue that our existence spans far beyond our senses. Our ancestors left teachings, and modern labs yield results, pointing to one conclusion: we do not comprehend time. Perhaps each decision you make echoes forward and backward, shaping moments you have yet to live and ones you thought were long gone. Ask yourself, does this revelation give you freedom, purpose, or a responsibility to craft your reality?